6 months old. A lot of parents think that their babies are just about ready to crawl, or they're, really should be sitting up at this age. Can we talk about some of the gross motor milestones around this age range? So in general, with sitting, so babies, how do you know if your baby is ready to sit? And then what are the actual things that you can do to help your baby build up the strength to be ready to sit?
Right. So for some babies at this age, they are still working on the strength to stay upright. And you would know that because you still have to offer a lot of support pretty high up on their body, like their rib cage, so that they don't flop forward. And the way you're going to work on that is really in that horizontal plane. So laying on their back, on their side, and on their tummy, working on all that rolling that we've talked about. That's going to really strengthen their core. And your core isn't just your belly, it's also your back. So that's what's going to help them most with working towards sitting. I know it doesn't make sense. You think sitting, you should practice vertical, right? But we want to build the strength first. If your baby is able to sit up with just a little support for balance, then you can start playing in ways that move them while they're sitting, or reaching and playing with a toy while they're sitting, and you're just there to spot or support. And that would be a great time to move your support instead of on their trunk or their hips up to maybe just their shirt, so that you're there just for protection, and you're letting them practice and experiment with like the little wobbles that are so important for sitting.
Yeah, and then once they're sitting, how much tummy time and floor time should you still be doing?
Yeah, so we want to think about once they're sitting that it is an okay position to have them in, but we don't want it to dominate until they've met all their horizontal milestones. So you want a baby really rolling all directions and working towards crawling. So at least getting up in hands and knees, or starting to scoot forward before you start to really use a lot of sitting time. We still want to default till they're on the default to the floor until they've mastered all those floor milestones.
Okay, and then how can you keep tummy time interesting? So they're rolling out of tummy time all the time for this age, and how do you think about their hands during tummy time? Can they reach for things yet?
Some babies can, and you want to just watch for your baby. A lot of times you see that reaching once they're strong enough to unweight one arm and reach forward. This is usually a baby who's going to do that with their forearm down, but maybe they are starting otherwise to press up through the arms. They're gaining that strength. Tummy time is hard at this age. Right before crawling, I find that babies kind of have this light bulb moment where they realize, I should be able to move forward and get something out of my reach, but they haven't figured out how. So they're kind of going through this trial and error with their body, and it is frustrating for them. And so it's important for parents to know, this is the time I get a lot of tummy time questions, and a lot of parents saying, well, maybe he's just done with tummy time. So you'll know you're done with tummy time when it becomes just sort of a transitional movement, that they're going through tummy time and then moving on to crawling or moving on to sitting. But when it comes to engaging tummy time at this stage, I like novelty. I love reading books so that when they get tired of a page and they start to lose interest, you turn the page. They're very into language at this stage too, so you can engage verbally with them to keep it interesting. They love faces. You can get face to face with baby. And then all this sensory play, all the novelty of different sensations and sounds and textures. And, we often think, okay, there's a ball, baby can grab the ball, but you can also roll the ball on baby's body. You can make the ball bounce or move in front of them so they're tracking. You can do all sorts of things to just keep it interesting for them and engaging for them.
Yeah, and I loved the idea of kind of creating this whole kind of circle of toys around the baby to start to get them to look in different directions and start to kind of pivot if the baby is kind of more advanced and wanting to be on their belly.
Absolutely. So that same activity can be applied to different ages and stages. So earlier, this baby in tummy time may just be turning the head while they're looking at the things around them, and then you'll start to see them reach to things around them, and then they might start to say, I got to get that thing. How am I going to get that thing? And they start to pivot. So they're pressing up and pivoting, and that's a great precursor for crawling.
Great. And then how should we think about seats at this age? So how much time should babies be in car seats and seats and strollers versus on the floor?
Yeah, this is really a time where a lot of parents default to putting their baby upright. Because babies like to be upright, and we think of 6 months as being this big mark, right? They need to be upright. But if a baby has not mastered the rolling and working on crawling, then we really want to limit how much time that they are upright in a seat. Always default, no matter the age or stage of your child, always default to unrestricted playtime on the floor, and then use those seats as needed, the ones that fit with your baby's development. If your baby can hold themselves up with very little support, you might use a seat or an exerciser in very limited capacity just for your own convenience.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us, Rachel.